Here we go. Question number 3. Okay, so JKL fund is valued once per week on a Friday. On Saturday, June 13th, Paul completed an application to invest $250,000. Given the following information in that table, it looks like, how many units would Paul own? Okay, and I can see we've got 2 valuation dates here. We've got the asset value of the fund on those dates, the liability value of the fund on those dates, and it looks like the amount of units outstanding for the fund on those dates as well. All right, so given the following information, how many units would Paul own? And he's investing $250,000. Okay, guys, this is a great question as well. Again, what's our first step in solving these kinds of questions? RTQF, read the question first. So this question is asking about how many units would Paul own, right? So this question is really testing, I think, on whether students know forward pricing and how forward pricing works. And I actually think it actually does something else too. I think this question also tests students on whether you know if you can buy partial units, also known as fractional units. Okay, because I can see, I'm looking at these 4 answer choices here, and I can see answer A is whole units, where answer B is what we call partial or fractional units. C is also whole units, but D is also partial or fractional units as well. Okay, so to answer that question, and again, this is covered in your study material, the answer is yes, you can definitely buy partial or fractional units with mutual funds. In fact, that's one of the things that separate them from shares. Very often, you can't do that with stock. Okay? All right. So how do we calculate how many units can be bought? Well, the first thing we need to do, obviously, is to calculate the NAV PU, the net asset value per unit that Paul has to buy at. All right? So let me see here. When did he buy this? On Saturday, June 13th, he completed the application to invest $250,000. Okay, so he placed the order on the Saturday, June 13th. I see the valuation date on Friday, June 12th. His order is after that date. So again, he's not going to get Friday, June 12th pricing. He has to wait until the next valuation date. And the next valuation date is Friday, June the 19th. So the first thing we've got to do is figure out which valuation date to use. We're going to have to use Friday, June the 19th. Okay? Now, to calculate the NAV PU, you saw us do this on question number 1 just a few minutes ago. We're going to take the fund assets. We're going to subtract the fund liabilities. We're going to take that result, and we're simply going to divide it by the outstanding number of units to figure out what the NAV PU is. Okay? So let me see if, do I have that on the screen? I don't have that on the screen. That's fine. All right, $10,100,000 in fund assets. We're going to subtract $850,000 in liabilities. So let me just see what that works out to be here. $10,100,000 in fund assets minus $850,000 in liabilities. So that works out to be $9,250,000. That's the NAV. Okay, $9,250,000 is the NAV. I divide that by the number of units, which is 400,000, divided by 400,000. And so then my NAV PU works out to be $23.13 rounded. Okay, it's actually 23.1250, but I'm simply rounding it to 2 decimal places, which is $23.13 rounded. Okay? So then what we have to do is we simply have to take that amount that he's invested, $250,000, and divide it by that NAV PU. And you guys have seen me do this before. $250,000 invested divided by $23.13. Let me just do the math. Divided by $23.13 works out to be 10,808.4738 units. Okay, 10,808.47 units that Paul can purchase. All right, let me just see if I'm right here. Yes, it is. Good thing it's right. Good thing. All right, so again, key point here, number one, you've got to know how to calculate, how many units somebody would own based on an invested amount and based on their NAVPU. But secondly, you should also know that, mutual funds, you can buy them in fractional units or, partial units. That's one of the advantages of mutual funds. Okay, so it's a great thing to know, great question, certainly an exam level question as well.